preparing for MBA exams can be overwhelming with so many concepts and questions to cover. So that is why I have curated this video containing 5 of the most repeated questions in the term and examination along with their answers. Yes, this video is designed to save your time and boost your confidence. And how did I make this list? By carefully analyzing the past term and examination papers so that you won't have to start from scratch. If you don't have the time to go through this whole video to find out the answers to those questions, no problem. You can log into www.anusclassroom.com and you can purchase the concise, revision-friendly answer scripts that I have prepared for these 5 questions. These is ideal for some serious last-minute learning. The first question, what do you understand by batch production? Explain the advantages and disadvantages of batch production. So let's start by trying to understand what exactly is batch production. This is a production method where products are manufactured in lots or batches rather than having to do it continuously. So this kind of a production method is used when we are producing something which exceeds immediate demand or when similar products can be grouped together for processing. Like for example, in a bakery, cakes or donuts or whatever it is will be produced in batches rather than individually. Right. So the advantage of such a batch production is first of all flexibility. This kind of a production method allows manufacturers to switch between product lines easily and even produce customized products in small quantities. And it also provides what is known as economies of scale. This lowers the cost per unit when we are producing in larger batches. Like for example, again, let us take the example of a bakery. Okay. Say for example, you have an oven or you will have certain basic ingredients from those like maybe bread, butter, not bread, flour, and then milk, eggs, all those things, right? With the same ingredients, you can create donuts, you can create cakes, you can create pastries, you can create cookies with the same oven but different products, so that makes it much more flexible. Your whole setup is much more flexible. At the same time, say someone comes and gives you an order of a wedding cake or a birthday cake, maybe one is 3-tier cake, one is maybe 1-tier cake, 1 kg cake, you can do it, right? So that is flexibility for you. Similarly, economies of scale can also be achieved with such a batch production. Setup time as well as cost is reduced because once a batch is set up, similar products can be produced with minimal changes. Also, quality control is possible. It improves. How does quality control improve with batch production? Because each batch can be monitored closely and this will reduce the defects. Additionally, resources like I said, machines, equipment, or raw materials, they can be better utilized since multiple items are being processed together. Now, so these are the advantages of batch production, but it is not devoid of disadvantages. There are certain disadvantages to batch production also, like, between batches. Say you are now baking donuts, and then if you have to start baking cakes, as soon as the donuts are out, can you put the cake? No. The oven's temperature may not be right for baking the cake and it might get burnt, right? So there is an idle time that has to be maintained between different batches. Otherwise, the recipes are going to get issues, right? So this wait time that is there between the batches, it can cause delay in delivery. Also, work in process inventory might increase, tying up capital and risking obsolete products, right? So maybe yesterday it was Diwali, so you had a lot of sale for donuts or whatever, but then today it might not be the case. And maybe yesterday you had a lot of you created a lot of bread, but it did not get sold today. Those kind of issues could be there in batch production. And scheduling multiple batches becomes difficult, especially if the lead times for each batch might vary. And overhead costs can also be higher due to storage, maintenance, and quality control needs. So these are some of the disadvantages of batch production. But uh, Also, one major important disadvantage is that if your demand fluctuates rapidly, then batch production will become less effective because it works best with consistent production. So, in short, batch production does offer a flexible and cost efficient method for producing similar products in lots, but it requires careful scheduling and inventory management to avoid any sort of inefficiencies. Explain the concept of value engineering. Also state the difference between value engineering and cost reduction. Now this is a very 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 important topic. I almost This value engineering concept, you will see one some question from this value engineering topic in at least 70 to 80% of past term and examination papers. You will see a question which relates to value engineering. So make sure that you understand this concept very 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 clearly. Value engineering, or VE in short, is a method that is used to analyze the functions of a product or service and provide them at the lowest total cost without sacrificing quality, reliability, maintainability, or aesthetics. Now, unlike a simple cost cutting method, this value engineering focuses on enhancing the overall value through innovative and efficient solutions. Now, the main difference between, say, this value engineering and cost reduction lies in their focus and approach. Value engineering is focused on functions. It looks at what the product or service actually does, and it finds ways to provide that function efficiently. Whereas when you look at cost reduction, it is more item oriented. It concentrates on lowering the cost of individual components or materials. Value engineering encourages creativity and innovation. It generates multiple ideas. That is, there is divergent thinking involved, and then it selects the best one. Or now there is convergent thinking. So value engineering creates multiple ideas. That is divergent thinking, and then from those multiple ideas, it will select the best one. That becomes convergent thinking. Whereas in cost reduction, it usually follows the traditional methods and it focuses on a single solution, that is, whatever works with the least cost. That is all there is about cost reduction. And another key point when it comes to the difference between value engineering and cost reduction is cost analysis. Value engineering examines cost in terms of basic, secondary, unnecessary, and essential functions to ensure that the value is maximized. In contrast, cost reduction focuses on reducing the overall expenses, which may sometimes compromise features or quality. So, in short, value engineering is all about doing things smarter and creatively to improve value, whereas cost reduction is about cutting costs, often without considering the product's functions or long term value. Define the terms capacity and capacity planning. Explain in brief the process of capacity planning. Capacity refers to the maximum output of a production system or a department, or the maximum output of a machine which it can achieve in a given period. So it depends on factors like availability of labor, availability of machinery, the machine's efficiency, and also the supply of raw materials. What is capacity planning then? Capacity planning is the process of determining the resources and capabilities that are required to meet the current and future customer demand efficiently. So, the main goal of capacity planning is to balance the supply with the expected demand so that we can ensure that enough resources are available without over investing. Now, the process of capacity planning starts with analyzing the historical data. That is, you look at the past production trend or the sale trend and resource utilization to understand what our current capabilities are. And then the organizations will forecast future demand. It will consider things like the market's growth or customer preferences or even seasonal fluctuations, and then they will decide what to do. So once they first figure out what their current capability is, and then they forecast the future demand, next they will evaluate the resource requirements, like how much workforce is needed, what all machines are needed, what equipment is needed, what all materials are needed. All those things they will evaluate. That is the resource requirement. And then they will compare the current capacity with the forecasted demand to help identify the gaps. What are gaps? The areas where the capacity is insufficient. And then, based on all of these gaps, strategies will be developed, like increasing workforce hours or investing in new equipment or optimizing processes to improve efficiency, whatever is required. And finally, capacity planning is monitored continuously and adjustments are made as market conditions or operational factors change. So, in short, capacity planning ensures that the organization has the right resources at the right time, maintaining its efficiency and meeting the customer's expectations. Enumerate the basic types of plant layouts. How does a cellular layout differ from a process layout? So, plant layout is something that determines how resources in the sense machines, workers, or materials, are arranged in a production facility. Now, there are many types of layouts. The basic types are process layout, which groups similar functions like machining or assembly. That is process layout. Then we have product layout. Okay, let me write that down for you, the different types of layout. So first we discussed about the process layout. Then next is the product layout. In product layout, the functions or the resources are arranged in sequence of production. Then we have the third type of layout is cellular layout. Cellular layout groups similar operations into cells for specific products or product families. Then we have the fourth type of layout, that is fixed position layout. This is a layout where product stays in one place and equipment or workers will move it. And then the last type of layout is the combination layout. In combination layout, all of these types of different types of layouts like process, product, cellular, fixed position and all are mixed. It's combined based on what is needed. So a cellular layout, now coming to the second part of the question. So if before that, if at all you are getting an answer question which asks you to discuss about or enumerate about the various types of plant layouts, you have to write about these five layouts. And the next commonly asked question in this regard of plant layouts is, how does a cellular layout differ from a process layout? Okay, so we will discuss about the process layout and cellular layout in detail, bringing out its differences. Now, a cellular layout, we said in this, the resources are arranged into different cells for specific products or product families, whereas in product layout, it groups similar functions like machining or assembly together. So, a cellular layout differs from a process layout in several ways. While a process layout is function oriented, a cellular layout is product focused. It groups operations to produce specific products efficiently. Process layout offers flexibility for different products, but it might involve longer material flow and higher work in progress inventory as well. When you come to cellular layout, it improves the efficiency by minimizing the transport time include and reducing the work in progress inventory. It often uses higher automation as well. Now, workers in a process layout may perform multiple tasks across departments, whereas in cellular layout, they are specialized within that particular cell which they are working. They handle similar processes or machines. So, the shorter material flow path in cellular layout often results in a faster cycle time and smoother production. So, in short, we can say the process layout is best for variety, whereas cellular layout is designed for efficient, streamlined production of similar products. Explain the concept of waste management. Waste management is complementary to resource management. It's a statement, and we are asked to comment on that statement. Now, waste management is a multidisciplinary approach which brings together engineering, economics, planning, management, and social sciences to reduce waste and make the best possible use of resources. So, its main goal of this waste management is not just disposing of waste, but minimizing waste generation at the source itself so that we can ensure the materials are used efficiently, energy is used efficiently, labor and is also used efficiently, and therefore we are maintaining sustainable growth. Now, engineering plays a big role in this waste management by designing processes and systems which reduce waste. Economics analyzes the cost and benefits of this whatever engineering has designed, and this ensures that waste reduction strategies are financially feasible as well. The urban and regional planning ensures that collection, transport, and disposal systems are efficient and environmentally sound. Management techniques, including policies, monitoring, and standard operating procedures, make sure that waste management strategies are actually implemented. Finally, social sciences help change the behavior, courage, community participation, and promote awareness about waste reduction. Now, let us look at the statement. Waste management is complementary to resource management. What does this statement mean? Waste management and resource management may have slightly different focuses, but ultimately both aim for optimal use of resources. Waste management seeks to reduce waste and make sure resources are not lost unnecessarily. For example, think recycling scrap metal. It ensures that raw materials are available for production rather than being discarded. Resource management, on the other hand, focuses on maximizing the efficiency of resources to meet production or service calls. So, together, this resource management and waste management form a cycle of sustainability. Efficient use of resources will automatically reduce waste, and whatever waste is generated through a process, if you try to reduce that waste, then it will preserve the resources for productive use. So, integrating this waste and resource management will provide us multiple benefits, like it leads to sustainable business operation, it leads to lower environmental impact, it leads to obviously reduced cost, higher efficiency, therefore higher profits. It also helps companies comply with regulations and demonstrate social responsibility. Now, examples of this include recycling industrial byproducts or recovering energy from waste, I mean, reusing water in manufacturing, or designing products to generate minimal waste in the first place. So, in short, waste management is all about handling what is discarded smartly, whereas resource management is about using what we have wisely. So, together they ensure resources are used optimally, cost is minimized, and environmental impact is reduced, making them complementary parts of sustainable management.